my goodness. Hi, welcome to Painting with Shawna on Thursday. I missed last week because I was busy painting my son's apartment, and it took every ounce of our energy to get it all done, but we got it all done by Sunday night. It's taken me 3 days to recuperate from the intensive workload. It was kind of fun. It looks fabulous. Thank you for joining me today. If you are on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button. I have a newsletter, and this week I actually sent a picture of me where I had been painting, starting with some blue, because I thought that would be appropriate for what we're painting today. So today I'm starting a new painting, but I want to take a second here. I think I forgot my flowers upstairs after all of that. To look at the colors that I'm going to work with, and if I had somebody here, I would get that flowers to me, but I have nobody in the house, so there you go. And we're going to talk about the colors that I've chosen, because I actually have already done the color matching of the florets, and we'll talk about that, and then we'll get painting. Okay, so you can see here that I have the blue books, the blue pages out. There are some chips missing because that's all ready for another project. This was the color blue that I was seeing on the flower, that I matched the local color of the flower. Now here's something really interesting, is when I printed these, I printed them at 2 different times on, I think, pretty much the same machine at Staples. You can see the color difference is quite a bit different here. This is way more purple than it is blue. And that is the matching color of the blue of the Delphiniums. So this one is, on the Munsell book, if you've got a Munsell book, is 5 PB 7, which is value 7. So it's a fairly light value when you compare it to the value chart. Here's a value 7. So the flower is not going to be, it'll have darker areas simply because it turns away from the light. And that's a value 4. Yeah. So the flowers themselves are fairly light. So this is the blue. But the thing I didn't do yet, I've made myself a sheet here of the different blues. I don't paint with blues with watercolor a whole lot because it is just you know, I do flowers and not a lot of blue flowers. So I pulled out every blue that I had, and I kind of compared this chip to the different blues. And I can see, I think cobalt is the closest I'm going to get. Cerulean blue is too green. Like it's too much. You can see that it's more turquoise. And this is a cobalt turquoise, and you can see it's very more towards the green. And this is a phthalo turquoise. Again, this is, you can see it has more red in this than yellow. So I think the cobalt blue and the ultramarine blue might be the best choice for the blues of these flowers. I'm going to put that over here on the chart so that I keep it. Now, if we look at the reds, I'm going to just move the blues away, and I can, if I had the other flowers with me, and I cut them off and then forgot to bring them downstairs, I could show you more, and I'll show you maybe next week if I have flowers still blooming. It's cooled off enough that they may still be blooming next week because it's quite cold outside. Summer has definitely disappeared. So Then I'm now looking at the different purples, the different colors. So I guess it goes this way when I look at it. And when I did the color check, that's not the color I'm looking for. 1 second. Should have looked at the back of the chip. So when I did the color check, I saw that it was a red purple, and here it is. Before I knock something over. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. And I match the color from here. Again, it's a value 7, which is the same value as the blue, which I thought was really interesting. But it was a lower chroma color, like the blue on the chart. The blue on the chart was here. It's positioned here. So that means it has more blue, like it's more pure. It has no gray, it's not been grayed out at all. As we go towards, we lower the chroma, we've got the bright blue, and then we've got, it's the same value, but it's going more towards gray. So it's a more pure tone. What I found interesting is this one. So this is, if this is on the board, this is where it is, about chroma 8. It's on chroma 4, the purple. It's not as chromatic, it's more grayed out. And you can see that when you're comparing the two, that the purple is more towards the gray. So that I thought was interesting as well. And we have lots of options for different colors of purples, from red purples to purples. So when I pulled the colors out, now let's take the pure tone here. Here's the pure tone. None of the purples I have actually really super match it. Certainly not the quinacridone magenta. The cobalt violet may be closer. So yeah, we're going to have to play with that. And I think what I'm going to do is take this darker purple and add it into the quin magenta to bring it more into the purple that I'm looking for and getting closer. You know, it doesn't have to match 100%. That's not it doesn't have to be the goal that you match it 100%, but you want to get close. You want to get that sense of the lower chroma and the higher chroma blue when we're working. So we have two different images. We have the different blues. I have set up my palette so that I have the cobalt blue, the ultramarine blue, and I played with what is going to bring the chroma down. And I took some orange, and it's a Windsor orange, which I think is a pyrrole orange. Get this out of the way so I can get to, there they are. Okay, so I'm going to put some more of that pyrrole orange on here. And I played with matching sort of that lower chroma, darker blues. And I think the other color I'm going to add is, this is more a red tone. So I'm going to use the phthalo green blue that's is more towards the blue. You can see the blue in it to help with darkening. And I'm also going to get just a little hint of, where'd that one go? There it is. The neutral tint. Just a little bit of that, and see if if that will work, because the neutral tint is really a low chroma blue. So very low chroma blue. It's almost, yeah. So here we go. I'm going to put those down, and I'm going to pull off the sheet that I have to cover the painting. I'm going to keep this image close because that's the image I'm working from. This one not far away because I want to remember that I'm working in blue. And here we go. Turn it that way. Move that out of the way. Put these here so that I remember what I'm pulling from. And let's get going. Okay. Taking fresh water, and I'm looking at this image, and I'm seeing where the blue is and where that low chroma purple is. Now I'm going to get a brush that's easier to get water with. So I'm working with my silver black velvet to put some water on so that I have enough time to, and I didn't mix my paints first, which, if I put enough water, that's not going to be an issue. We'll just move quickly here. Okay. Okay. So let's get that low chroma purple. I'm going to mix, I'm looking forward to when I have mix the magenta with some water. And then I'm going to add some of that purple, maybe a little of the ultramarine blue too, so that, I wonder if, yeah, get some of that blue in there. I'm going to test it because I need to know where I'm at. So here's the test. Here's the low chroma. Here's the higher chroma. Still needs to be a little bit more purple. So let's see if we can get there. Oh, I think that's closer. Now we need to lighten the value so that we can see that we're getting closer to that value. Okay, I think that's pretty close. And that has a little bit of cerulean, a little bit of ultramarine blue, and a little bit of the purple in it, just so that they all blend together. Now I'm going to take that mixture and add just a touch of the green in to see, and a little tiny bit of the there. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's pretty close. It's not perfect, but I'm not worried about perfection. So I added a little bit of the phthalo green and a little bit of the neutral tint to get to that value. Okay, now we're going to come in, clean up that, I don't want, and we're going to see where we are with the blue. So here's the blue. Once I get it on here and I know how I made it, yeah, that's pretty good. A little bit of that ultramarine blue in there. Maybe we'll bring it right into where I want it. Oh, I think that's right there. Okay, we are good to go. I love painting different colored flowers, and blue ones. There are so few blue, true blue flowers. It is lots of fun to paint them. Okay, so I'm not sure there's enough water, so I'm going to come and just put another coat here. So if you are here, say hello. I would love to hear how you're doing. Okay, get that water on there, just move it around. I don't want a ton of water because I don't want hard edges where the paint dries funny at the edge. I just want enough water to be able to work from. I'm going to take a bigger brush because that's a bigger space to work with. So I'm going to take a bigger brush. I'm going to take some of that blue, and I'm trying to keep it as pale as possible. I don't want too much chroma in, like too much paint yet. And you can see that it gets quite, there's some really light areas there. So we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. So there's that pretty grayed down purple, and we'll move some over here. And I can see that there's a lot of light here. So I'm just going to pull this paint around so that I can create that light area and have it touch there. And it looks like the blue comes to the here. This area here still has some of that blue, so I'm going to bring in the blue. And I can see it has a little touch of that purple as well. Oh, the blue goes right down into here. Everything's a little late blooming this year. I think I've said that before. So so the delphiniums are just blooming now. And pull that. Okay. If it goes beyond, just take your paper towel and flatten it out and okay. A little bit of that blue right there and let it be. Oh, I see there's a little blue at the edge too. It's all these little variations that make it interesting. So I'm going to come in with a smaller brush to dampen it up and move the paint around. I dried it off on my brush, on my paper towel that's in my hands. Okay, and just come to the edge. Okay, one down, many more to go. This is my last watercolor painting that I will be doing for my show in the fall. So I'm going to enjoy this process. And I'm wetting the petal down, which is this petal here. And this is a 16 by 20 inch size painting. So I'm seeing some of that purple in this area here. Of course, it's much darker than what I'm putting on, but that's all right. I'm just placing it in and putting it in place. And I see a little hint of it right at the end of this. And then the rest is a very pale blue. I don't want too much blue on my brush. And if you get too much, that's a good amount there. I can clean off my brush and I can dry it off, and then I can use that water that I have on there to, you know, because it's against white, it looks like it's far darker than it actually is. And each layer, subsequent layer, will help to put that information in better and be more accurate. Okay. So We always have to make sure that there's no petal touching the next wet edge because it will soak in the water. Hey, Debbie. I missed you on Sunday morning. I was pretty tired and needed to, well, the video's paused. Well, that must be a Facebook issue because it's working on YouTube. Hey, Sandy, how are you today? I hope you guys have gotten some rain because I think it's been pretty dry down there. Mind you, it's pretty dry in lots of places. Okay, this one is quite purple. So why don't we play with that one and have some fun? So what I noticed in some of the flowers, they're really blue and other ones are mostly purple and sometimes they're variegated, which is just fun. No rain. Well, we've got cold weather. We could try and send that to you. It's, oh, I don't even know what the temperature is. It's like 10 degrees outside. It's like cold. Okay, so we're working with that purple. And that purple we made with a little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of cerulean, a lot of the magenta, quinacridone magenta. I'm going to continue to test that purple so that I can make sure I'm in sort of the right range, that I've got enough of the quinacridone in there that I'm happy with it. Okay. Take a little bit of that darker purple and see if that gets me where I want it to be. Okay. So these test things are really helpful. And then we have to lower the chroma because, of course, it's a lower chroma purple. Oh, needs to be lowered a little bit more. There we go. That's closer. Okay. Fabulous. Well, I mean, it's nice when it's cooler, when you've had hot weather, and maybe it'll bring some rain in behind it or something. We're just not. We're just getting with, you know, summer's done here. We'll have a nice day or two, but we won't have the heat that we had. The long weekend, we actually broke a record for being 33 degrees. Almost 33 degrees. It's the hottest day ever in Yellowknife. And I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Okay, so there, we're going to come down a little further. I'm going to let that dry. Now, let's come up. Can't do that one. Oh, let's find a blue petal. Okay, so why don't we, can't do these ones, so why don't we do this one here. Now I have a big enough brush that what I'm doing is just taking some paint. I'm going to test it out, make sure that it's close, and I'm going to just quickly put the paint in on the dry surface. Clean my brush, dry it off, and there we go. Move it around. Have enough water on it to be able to move the paint. Has a little bit of that purple in around here, just on the edge. So I'm just going to bleed it in and come around here. Then I'm going to take a smaller brush to move the paint around because it's, you know, I like to control my paint as best I can. Bit of a control freak. I haven't been out birding at all because I've been, I was painting. Sean's pretty pleased with himself, and he's busy working on his place and making it more functional and unpacking. So that was really exciting. Okay, so I'm doing this petal now, this one here, and I'm seeing a lot of pale blue with a little bit of the purple. So I'm going to put the purple in place first because I need a thing to put my hand down on. Small, where are you? Right there. Okay, so just take some of that purple, and I'm looking at the petal, and I'm seeing where I want to place it. I'm going to take some more and just bring it down. Okay, grab some of that blue. Because it's a smaller petal, I can use a smaller brush for this. Bring it down, bring it in. Just touch around that purple, not to mix it in, but they will commingle together because they can do that with watercolor. Can't do that with acrylic. Okay, leave that to dry. Okay, next, I'm going to move these off. I've got my little test strip here. Probably could put a little arrow that says, this is the one that I like the best. And I think this one was the one I like the best. So I know which one I'm working with. So like the other paintings I've done, we're just setting the stage by putting a layer of paint on. So I'm right here. I'm going to put some water on. Oh, 92 degrees. I bet you if you check the 33 Celsius out, that was pretty close to that. We were all little puddles of like, wow, this is really hot. Are you finding it working better on YouTube, Debbie, than Facebook? I've found that Facebook seems to be more problematic for me. And I don't know why that is, but okay. So I'm looking at where that purple is, and I'm placing it in place. Thinking about what I'm looking at, and then coming back with that blue, which is the mixture of cerulean blue. No, is the mixture of cobalt blue and ultramarine blue. I don't want too much. I want more water in there to make it lighter. And then come down here. And I can see the blue comes around to the point and comes down here. And that's pretty light there, so I'm going to leave that light. And I'm going to come down in here. Oh, okay. I'm glad to hear that YouTube is working better. It seems to be like I've got both screens up, and it seems to less have problems with the sagging. So I've been saying to people who get my newsletter, go over to YouTube because it seems to work better and be a little less frustrating. But then, I mean, Facebook is doing everything. So, you know, YouTube, that's what it does, is just streaming. So its focus is probably a little bit better for this kind of thing. Okay, so let's do, I can't do this one, I can't do that one. What's happening here? That's that, okay. So I think I'm going to do this one here. Let's fill it in with water. And then add some of that purple. Remixing it because of course it's moving and changing all the time. So I just want to add some of the blues in. Add some of the stuff tested out. Okay, we're there. I'm starting to get a sense of what it's supposed to look like. And that's way too, and I want a little bit more of the pink in there, the magenta. Just a little bit more, because I can see as it comes closer over here that there's just sort of a brush of that magenta there. I'm going to get a smaller brush that I can manage better. So here's a number 8. And I can just touch the edge. And I'm going to get some of that light blue and just put it along the frilly edge of the edge here. And I can see where there's super light places, so I want to, yeah. That was a record-breaking day, Debbie. To have 92 Fahrenheit here was a record-breaking day. We are, after all, subarctic, so it was a pretty hot day, and none of us have air conditioning, because why would you need air conditioning for the one day a year that might, or 3 days a year that might get hot? So we were all sort of hiding away, and I enjoyed it, because I thought, good thing it's not lasting forever. I'm not sure I would enjoy it if it lasted a long time, but I enjoyed it. I was relieved because on the Tuesday when Sean got his place, it cooled off, and it cooled off dramatically. Within 48 hours, we dropped 20 degrees Celsius, so that was probably 40 degrees in Fahrenheit, because we just dropped right down to 13 or 14 Celsius. I was like, oh. And we had one nice day since, and we keep sort of hovering there. Okay, let's go. Where's the next place we can work on? Let's do this petal here. And I'm hoping you can see, well, maybe you can't see on that side. I can't actually tell because it's in behind. So I'm going to actually, let's go over here. Let's go to one I know you can see. I'm going to get the big brush, the one that holds lots of water, the black velvet, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to fill the area with water. There we go. Look at how pretty that is. It's going to be. And this one has a lot of that purple mixture in it. So that's fun. Take some brushes out of my hand so that I can manage it. Okay, so I'm going to come in and some of it is more towards that magenta, just a little bit more. And we're going to come all the way around. I see there's a little hint of that blue right along here. Just push that in there and let it sort of blend out. Where's my, put your hand down. Okay. And add some more magenta here. And over here with that low chroma purple. Okay, and there's a lighter area in here, so I'm just going to pull the paint that's already there and just lighten that area up. And I can see that there's some blue in here, so let's add some blue in here. Interesting shape of the blue. Back into that purple color, and then I'm going to go and see what Debbie wrote, because I didn't enlarge it, so I can't see it from a distance. Okay. 2 seconds to enlarge it here. Plus. Okay, that's funny, Debbie. Okay. Well, I think this is probably dry enough. We can do this petal next to it. If we don't touch it with the water, I think the 2 petals are dry enough, because it's pretty dry here. We're not, I think we had a little bit of rain today. There we go. And when you work with a smaller brush, filling in with water, it takes more time to do. When I use the bigger brush, it's faster. Okay, a lot of blue. So let's mix that blue up, add some water in, test it out to make sure we're close to what we want it to be, because we don't want to, it doesn't matter if it leans a little bit more towards one or the other, the cerulean blue or the ultramarine blue, but you know, you want to be close. So building it up, there is some purple right on the edge of this one. I'm going to pull that low chroma purple, needs a little bit more magenta in it, along the edge, just to float it in. Bring that small brush up so that I can manage. You can see how it's bleeding in, and I just want to soften that a little bit so that it's not quite so pull that around here. We need some more of that purple here. Okay, nice, and pull it here, and I see that it goes right to there. And then we're into the blue. And if it just touches the edge, they just blend together really nicely. But you can end up, if you don't touch it, with sort of a streak in between. So because there's not enough water for them to move without a little bit of assistance from my brush. Okay, now I see that I've gone beyond here in a couple of places. I'm going to wet my brush, clean it off, dry it off. I could use a Q-tip as well for pulling that paint off, because of course watercolor layers, and that layer underneath will be noticeable, so you don't want that underneath if you can avoid it. Okay, let's move up here to this one here. Let's get it wet. Okay, nice and wet here. Go right to the edge. I can see that it's nice and moist. I also see that I have my board angled a bit so that I could anchor it down. I've got blocks underneath so it won't roll around because it's on a Lazy Susan and will roll around. So I can see that the water is pooling down on this end because that end's lower. So I just want to think about that while I'm working here. Okay, and what am I looking at there? Okay, that's good. Okay, so let's get some of that blue. Lots of water to keep it light. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of blue on this one. I love how each petal is just that little bit difference, that nuance, that change. So next week I won't be here. I should probably announce this on. I just have another commitment and I just won't be able to be online next week. So, but when I get back, we'll finish this and get myself organized. I'll get this finished. And then we're on to the birds pretty soon. I'm pretty excited about that. The first bird I'm going to do is actually ptarmigans, but really it's a great big snow sculpture with ptarmigans on it. And I'm going to do a color study first, which I don't think I'm going to, I hope to have done, well, I will have done before I do the live stream. And then I'll just paint the big painting. And it's going to be quite large, so you'll see sections of it. Okay. Okay. Pull that back a little bit. Let that dry. Okay. How are we doing over here? Oh, this is a really pretty blue one here. And I think this is dried enough. I can sneak in next to it and continue to build it up. Okay. Okay, we're just working away here. So is it too warm where you're at, Debbie, for having delphiniums? Because I know if it's a really, different flowers really function and do better at different places. Do you have things like delphiniums? I know Atacocan does because it's warmer than here, but it still has that kind of stuff. A little touch of that purple right here at this, right there. And then come back with that blue so that it pushes the purple back towards the edge. Okay. Oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, my goodness. I do like painting. Okay, so let's do this one here. This one here can be done as well. It's a small area. I don't need a lot of water on there, but I can see that it's got blue, lots of blue, and a touch of purple. So we'll get the blue in around, and maybe just more of the cerulean a little bit. Not the cerulean, the cobalt blue. And it doesn't have any purple at all on this petal. But it does have this lighter area, so I want to make sure that I keep that lighter area light. And I'm just going to take my brush that I've dried off and I'm just going to pull between the two blues that I had put down. Okay. We are at 15 more minutes before, yeah, less than 15 minutes for the hour to be done. How fast time goes when you're having fun. Okay. That's pretty. This is, okay, so this is dry enough? Yeah, that's dry enough. So let's do that one here. I see the purple just on the edge. Make some more of that purple. Lower the chroma, test it out to make sure it's where I want it to be. Needs a little bit of the blues to get in there. Okay, there we go. Here we are. Just come in with that purple. Bring in a little bit more of the quinacridone magenta into that purple just to touch the edge. And now bring in the blues. Here we go. It's a pretty, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I think it was the year before that I painted they're blue flowers. They grow in hot places. They got lots of petals. Yes. Oh, you have a pomegranate tree. Now that's cool. Yeah, we definitely can't grow that kind of stuff here. Yeah, these delphiniums, they're just in the ground and it's 45, 50 below and they just keep coming up and being happy. So I can't imagine they'd be happy. I'm going to lighten that up because I've got some overflow here. Just touch it a bit. Yeah, I bet you they don't get cold enough, so they wouldn't actually survive very well there. Interesting. I'll have to check and see what the range is for delphiniums. The other flower, it just popped into my head and popped out. It's blue. Hydrangeas. Hydrangeas. Now they grow in much warmer places. They don't grow here very well, but at all. Don't even bother trying. But I got a potted hydrangea, so I was able to paint a blue flower for my show in 2019. This is my second show this year because I had to push it back and do a later show for my annual show. And it's number 9 this year. I can't believe I've been doing it for 9 years. Okay, so let's see. I've just filled that one in and it's a lot of the purple. Get that mixed in. Get a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Lower the chroma. Test it out to make sure you're close. Okay. Oops. Needs a little bit of. That is really dark. I don't want it that dark. So I'm just going to take my brush and clean it and take off most of the water and then come in with more water into the mixture so that it's a little less colorful. Okay. Oh, and I see there's a touch of that blue in the center, so let's get some of that blue in the center here, coming down out from the. And I see a little bit of that ridge of blue just on the edge of this petal. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take that away because I don't think that's supposed to be quite there, but add some more of that that purple, add more water to it so it's lighter. Every place else you add white, and in watercolor you just add more water and then you get it lighter. Which is kind of cool. Because you get really pure colors this way too. You don't end up with, like sometimes white could make things a little chalky. Some interesting palms in my paintings. Oh, hydrangeas, yes. Yes, they're lovely. I would love to be someplace that grew hydrangeas. Okay, we're looking at the time here. We've got about, we'll just do a couple more petals and then it'll be time to wind it up, and then I will work behind the scenes to get more of this done before we see each other in 2 weeks again. Okay. There's a lot of blue on this one here. So I chose this part of the image because it's actually from a really full-sized image. Like there was the whole plant in it, because it was mostly just blues and purples, and there was no breaks in the in the colors. Like there's no background here. It's just more blues and more purples. A couple little areas of background, but not enough to so it's just going to be a really happy painting with the blues and the purples and the touches of green. Just touches of green. You see little bits of the plant, the stems in. So I think it's going to be really a dramatic painting. Okay. So we got one flower done. Let's see. Oh no, we're not far enough along there. That's not dry enough. So let's go over here. I think this one here is dry enough. So let's get this. Oops. There we go. I need a faster watering thing. Okay. Yeah, you have some beautiful paintings there, Debbie. I love your paintings. With all the flowers and the fruits and vegetables and the amazing... I love your series that has the hand grenades. That's kind of fun. Okay, so it's purple up around the edge and then blue towards the center. Got some more blue. Just add some water and I mix the two together and I get to that blue that I'm looking for. Hey Suzanne, how is it out in New Brunswick? What's the weather like there? Are you guys dry like every place else, or because I really haven't paid attention to the weather any place other than Yellowknife, and I'm trying not to whine too much because it's cold. I'm so glad you could join us, Suzanne. Yeah, and if I look at weather elsewhere, then I start to feel like, oh, poor little me, because it's still cold. It's cold here. And it's supposed to be cold, not quite this cold in August, but this is the year that just seems to be doing that. Yeah, there's a point in where you just say, okay, I'm not going to look at other people's weather because I live in Yellowknife and that's the way it is. Okay, so what is the time? Hot and sunny. Well, enjoy that. Okay, you know what? It's just about time to wind it up. And I think this is a perfect place to stop. You can see that I've got how many petals done today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 petals done. I have many more to do to get the first layer done, but I will continue to work on that tonight. I'm looking forward to it. It's very pale. It will be much darker as I work along, but let's get back to over here to there we go. So thank you very much for joining me. The painting will continue to dry, so I'm going to leave it flat. I can't hold it up. When I come back in a couple weeks, I'll have the painting up here so that you can see it and we can compare to where we left off. And thank you very much for joining me. Remember to subscribe or to like my page. And I have the newsletter. Just go to dancingravenstudio.ca and sign up for my newsletter on the weeks that I'm doing live streaming, my weekly newsletter. And I kind of put in different things that I don't put anyplace else on social media. Anyway, have a great afternoon and we'll talk to you later.